I'm Chris.
I'm Sandy.
And this is Parenting Autism. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 111 of the Parenting Autism podcast. I'm here with my lovely wife, Sandy.
Good morning.
Good morning, sunshine. We're back here. So, after a failed attempt of doing a YouTube podcast video, we're back in the studio doing audio.
With our new microphones, though.
That all rhymed.
Did it?
Should be on the radio.
Oh, jeez. Oh, we know.
So, yeah.
It is nice. I can see you better with these microphones because I don't have that big round filter blocking my view of your handsome face.
Oh, thank you. So, yeah, this is through different microphones, so we'll see how this goes
so
today.
If it sounds a little different,
hopefully it sounds the same as it did.
Yep. But we're back on here because
we have things to talk about.
We do. And one of the big things is
the book.
We're getting ready to launch the book.
Ding, ding, ding.
So we're in the final steps. Actually, it's been edited. It's been reviewed. You and I are going to go through, I guess, one final time this weekend with the fine-tooth comb.
Read it through and
loading it up.
Getting ready to hit the button.
And the goal is, can I announce the date that it will be available? Or you're still hesitant to do that?
I think that's a stretch goal.
Is it? Is it though?
I do. I think so.
Oh no, I think it's going to happen.
I don't want you to push the button because that's the day that you said had to push the button. I really want it to be done, polished, ready, go.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? But you can announce the stretch goal.
Okay. The stretch goal is that you will be able to purchase our book, Parenting Autism: The Early Years, on Thursday, October 5th, 2023, which will be Bryce's 10th birthday. Okay. Ta-da!
You said it.
I did. I said it.
You said it.
So today we're going to read the foreword from the book, just so the listeners can get an idea of why we wrote the book and what the book's going to be about. And I'm really excited about it. Yeah,
it's been a long process.
Yeah, almost 2 years ago I started this, and so
isn't that amazing? You don't think a book takes long to write, but it just does. And
so much has happened. And I finished the last chapter with where we're at now with Bryce at 9 years old, even though I started really writing this when he was, had just turned 8. So I think it's really good. It really shows the first 10 years of parenting and all that we've gone through, which has been more than autism. Autism was part of it.
Our beta readers have finished, and they've given us their feedback.
Yeah, we have some reviews from that as well, and we're excited. It's good. It's been really exciting time. Really been good and good feedback, and there's lots of pictures in the book because I love a book with pictures, and I think it just gives visuals to tie people into the things that I'm talking about and the different stories and experiences that we share. That's what I was trying to say.
Did we decide they were going to be color or black and white pictures?
Everything's going to be black and white.
Okay. Yep. I like pictures too.
I do too. So, without further ado,
go ahead and read
let me
foreword.
read that forward, and then we're going to just share a couple of highlights that's been happening around here, and then we'll wrap this one up today. Okay, why did we write this book? This is a question we have asked ourselves a few times throughout the process. Why would we be vulnerable by sharing some of our deepest thoughts and personal experience with others? Who would even be interested in reading about how autism has affected our lives? Again, why? The word that kept surfacing over and over again is hope. And what is the definition of hope that our story may provide other families who have been touched by an unexpected, life-altering situation? Hope helps us to see our autism journey in a different way, through a different lens. Hope lets us see life through the eyes of our hearts. Hope lets us look through our hearts and see things that are not yet in existence but may come. We have learned the importance of celebrating the gains of where Bryce is now and how far he has come on his journey instead of dwelling on where we think he needs to grow. Bryce is Bryce. And he's at
Bryce
our
is
door
at
right
our
now.
door.
Just a moment.
Yes, Bryce. Bryce is feeling sick this morning.
Yeah. What's up, buddy? Come on in.
Hey, bud.
I'm going to show you.
Oh, can we have you come in a few minutes and you can show them?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
you
thanks.
got it, buddy. He
you
wants to
close the
show you
door?
his construction game. Okay. So cute. Well, Bryce is Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
And we love our Bryce more than we thought was humanly possible. He has a gift of joy and kindness that is contagious with such a beautiful heart. It doesn't matter if he has delays in language and comprehension. It's okay that he has an auditory processing disorder and struggles with reading, writing, and processing information. He will learn to do these things at his own pace, and we will be right beside him, praying over him, encouraging him, and parenting him to do the best of our abilities. The autism journey is not about us, it's about Bryce. We are simply the parents that God chose to help him on his journey. It's important to make clear that this book is about providing encouragement and insightful stories that help others understand our world. It is not an instruction manual for other families to try what we have tried with Bryce. Every child is created uniquely and must be cared for accordingly. Our prayer and wish is that you will find hope in your personal journey as a result of reading about ours. In Romans 8:25, it says, "But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the foreword to our book. And then there's 7 chapters, and we'll just be sharing our journey in that. So we hope that you'll mark your calendar. It's going to be available on Amazon for sure. And we also got accepted for Barnes & Noble, but I have to figure out how to get in there and get it all loaded.
Okay, great.
But definitely Amazon by October 5th, and then Barnes & Noble, I'm not committing to that date. I just know I got to work on that one
Okay.
next.
Yeah.
So ta-da! Super excited.
Yes. It is exciting.
Did you want to read the recent review that we got through
Yes.
Apple Podcast?
Yeah. So, AZ Mama 1234 wrote this. Thank you for sharing your journey and resources is the title. I love hearing about your journey and especially how you navigate as a Christian family. I relate to your struggles, successes, and everything in between. You have been so responsive to my emails, and even though we are all on separate paths, we can learn from each other. I love how you share not just therapies, but also biomedical information. Keep up the good work, and go Team Bryce. P.S. This is my first review, and thank you for being transparent about the fact that you need encouragement too. Well, thank you, AZ Mama 1234. We really appreciate that review.
And it does give us encouragement.
It
She's
does.
absolutely right.
And we're keeping on this train
That's
wherever it leads us.
Choo choo.
So
So I think the only other real headlines that we wanted to share today, because, there's always stuff going on, but one big one was that we finally finished the hyperbaric chamber dives.
yeah,
And it has been packed up and shipped out, and it's out of our bedroom.
yes, we have our bedroom back.
We do, but we did, and we were ready to be done. Believe me, those last couple of dives, Bryce and I were ready to be done. I ended up with over 40 hours, and Bryce did 60 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, yay him. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a lot. Did we see anything? I think we've talked before, not really seeing anything that I would say, oh, wow, look at that significant difference. But our hope and prayer is that it's the things that we can't see, and that it's healing his brain in ways that it otherwise couldn't be healed. And I think we'll know more, maybe even when we get his EEG, in the earlier part of 2024. But
yeah, I'm hoping to see improvement on that.
That's where we'll see.
We'll see.
But I do have a little bit of hope about that.
Yeah.
But we're happy to have that done. And everything has been really good. I mean, Bryce has done really well with his new therapies, and he seems happy going there, and he's tolerating the sounds better. And we've actually had a big win in the department of, we were able to go to dinner on Tuesday night. We had some friends that came into town, and we met them at Cracker Barrel. We forgot his headphones because we switched vehicles, and it was one of those things that we didn't realize until we arrived and we didn't have them. And lately we have been taking Bryce's headphones pretty much everywhere we go because his sensitivity is it's heightened in an extreme way. So we'd rather him know that he has those there as a safety measure, or I should say not a safety measure, but what he feels is safety for him. Like it's assuring and reduces his anxiety. We didn't have them. So I was like, oh no. And you're like, well, we're just going to see how it goes. And so we did. And we walked in and he was okay going in without them, which is a win. And then when we sat down, it took a little while, but there was a family there with a little one, and they wanted to do a family picture at their table with the waitress. And I don't even know if you saw or heard all this going on, but no. I saw Bryce tensing up, and then I'm looking at what he's looking at, and then I hear the child. But the child was not right beside us. He was kind of across the dining room. However, it definitely had Bryce's attention. I will say that he did really good. And instead of him getting where he's really upset and angry about it, he kind of talked his way through it with me and saying, if that baby cries, I'm going to get a B12 shot tonight. I'm like, yeah? Why are you going to do that? Because you want to hurt yourself? No, I just want all bad things to be in one day. I'm like, okay. Because, obviously he doesn't really like getting the shot, but he wants anything that he perceives to be bad to happen in one day. So when he starts the next day, there's nothing bad that's going to happen or what he perceives to be bad. So that's kind of like his thinking. But again, he didn't really get upset. We just kind of talked our way through it. So I felt like that was a real victory.
He thinks the B12 shot is bad. He never complains about it. And
I guess in his mind, who wants to get a needle in their butt?
Yeah, but he doesn't feel it. So
because you numb it with ice?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's maybe just the thought of it.
Maybe.
He perceives that as it. But he really doesn't complain about it. You're right. But in his mind, he's just like, well, if there's anything I don't want to do or I don't like, let's all throw it into one day. But I really did feel like that was a victory from where we've been lately to where he's learning to tolerate that better. And I think that's just from conversations we're having with him. But on the other hand,
how's your throat?
My throat's kind of, but
yeah. I see her over there.
Yeah, I'm touching my throat because it feels like it's a little fiery.
Now Bryce is sick, so is there something you want to tell me?
No, because it doesn't hurt to swallow.
Okay, all right.
If it hurts to swallow, that's the kiss of doom for me. That means, Sandy, you're getting a cold. Buckle up. Yes. Okay. This one maybe is just from talking too much. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, we'll got one more story, and then we'll bring Bryce in because he wants to share that. We won't be too long today. But I did want to bring this up. We've talked before about how behaviors are like boomerangs. You think they're gone, and then they come back, and they come back when you least expect them. So for those who have been listening to the podcast for a while, you will know that a couple years ago, one of Bryce's triggers was when anybody would shush him. If he heard shh, he hated that in a big way. And it took us a little while to figure out why that was such a button for him, that was pressed. And he was able to tell us at that time in his own way. We had to crack a code or two. But he thought when someone was telling him to shh, that they were telling him to close his mouth. And he thought that if he was being told to close his mouth, that he couldn't breathe, and that they were telling him to stop breathing and that they wanted him to die. That was really
extreme
how he was processing that. So we had to show him, we're closing our mouths, but we're still breathing. We sleep at night and we close our mouth, but we wake up the next day and we were breathing because we breathe through our nose. And, we gave him a lot of logic there. And that's when he was starting to understand logic, which was good. And we got through it. I mean, it took a little while. In fact, I was sharing what recently happened with my mom last night, and she goes, I remember that. She said one time he was at the house and I told him, shh. And she said he fell to the floor. And then he got up and he goes, I just tripped. Because he didn't want her to know that he threw himself to the floor. And then she said a few minutes later, he said, Mama, please don't say that. word again. I don't like that word. It made my power go down 50%. And so she said, she wanted to laugh at the way he said it because it was so cute about how his battery power went down.
But he was so serious.
That's exactly what we are trying to teach him now. And I'm glad she told me that, because we're trying to teach him that if somebody does say a word that you don't like, then tell them that. Say, I don't like that word, or please don't say that. And apparently that's what we were telling him to do at that time. And he did that with her. So we've got to revisit that and get him to speak again, because he did not speak when it happened the other night. We were at somebody's house for the first time. And so we were there, and Chris, you and I were in the other room with the couples, and it was a Bible study that we were trying for the first time. and Bryce was with a couple of older teenagers, so we thought everything would be okay. But understandably, they had moved to a living room area that was closer to where the adults were, and they could hear that we were praying in the other room, and Bryce had his Switch game, so I'm guessing we weren't there, but that they probably said, shh, you need to turn your game down, or you need to be quiet because they're praying. Which all makes sense, but Bryce heard the word shh and was apparently upset. So when we go to get him, I could tell something wasn't right. So then I didn't really want to leave until I knew what had happened. And so we were talking to him. And then while we were sitting on the couch, and he did tell us, which was good, he told us that he was shushed. And we're like, well, I'm sure, it's because we were in the other room. We were trying to reassure him. But he did start biting his arm. And that's the first time that I have ever witnessed him biting himself. Mm-hmm. Is that the first time you've seen that too? I mean, he's done other things, but and probably. It was not just like to get our attention. Like, are you watching me bite my arm? No, he was like digging those teeth in there deep.
He wanted to hurt himself. He didn't care.
He was doing that and had major teeth marks. So we weren't getting anywhere, and you were like, we need to go. And which was a good call, because we needed to remove him from the situation at that place at that point. So we get in the truck, and he started biting himself again. And then you said, are you biting yourself? And I'm like, yes, he is. And you're like, oh, that's it. We're going to have to go to the hospital then to look at his arm. And then he's like, the next time, because I'm done. I've stopped. Okay. Because if you do, is it bleeding? No, it's not bleeding. So you were able to say that enough to snap him out of it, which was good.
Yeah.
But it was still really sad. And like, wow, why is this happening again with him? And we got to use your words. So that's what we were just telling him on the drive home was, if you're upset about something, you can come and get us. I mean, at first it was like, you can tell them you want your mommy and daddy. And it's like, no, you can just bypass that. You can come and get us.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation that you're upset, or you feel like you need to leave it, you can. It's okay. And that's what we're trying to teach him now, is self-advocating. So we were having the parent training with his ABA team at the house on Thursday. And we were telling them what happened. And, they're giving us some tools and some ideas. And it's really a collaborative effort, which I love. So we all just kind of talk about it. And he's not going to understand really self-advocating, too big of a word for any child, really. But we're just teaching him, quote unquote, speak up. That's what you tell any other kid. If somebody's picking on you, if somebody's doing something you don't like, or if they're saying something you don't like, just say, you guys speak up. You have to say something. Use your words. One of the suggestions was, okay, actually we brought Bryce in, and I knew it would upset him to revisit it, right? So we had said to him, if you'll do this, and you said, if you can do this and not get angry, we'll give you points. How many points is it worth? And I'm thinking a couple, right? And he's like 10. I'm like, wow, this must be really difficult for him, because he doesn't always just score it high. So he sat in there, and even as soon as Miss Felissa said, so Bryce, when you heard the word, shh, why did that bother you so much? You could just see him like
tense up.
Yeah. And he he was able to tell us that the word was too rough. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, so it's too rough? And he's like, yes, it's, and I forget the next word he said to describe it. But he didn't like hearing it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember that's when we're like, well, what would it be okay if they said, what should they say? Like, be quiet? And he said, yes. Which I thought, So I said, Bryce, you would rather somebody say, be quiet than to shush? And he's like, yes. All right. So, because honestly, I think if somebody said, be quiet, I think it would depend on the tone. And I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, at least he was verbalizing and sharing, and he managed his emotions the whole time that he was in there with us. And then at a certain point, he was done, and he's like, I can't anymore. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Like,
he went to his,
The questions were too
it was too much for him. It was like truly upsetting him again.
because we were trying to learn, and
Yeah.
he's
And it's too hard for him to revisit it.
yeah.
So then he went to his room, and you heard him go, "Urgh," and he goes,
yeah.
oh, he's angry. So I followed him into his room, and he wasn't doing anything to hurt himself, which was good. He just had his face down buried into his bed while he was standing beside it, clearly upset. And then he told me, oh, I didn't get angry in there. I waited till I got to my room. And then I thought, well, that's good too, that he could control it and manage it, and he didn't go in there and try to just then hurt himself or smash things or nothing like that. He really just put his face into his comforter and was trying to work through it in what is, to me, was a much healthier way. So it's just stuff I guess we have to work through. It just breaks my heart. I mean, it's really hard to watch him struggle with all of this. I know it hurts your heart too. It's just trying to find those right ways to help him.
I think it all stems from anxiety. And we were telling his BCBA, or I was telling her that, his anxiety level, is already at like a 7 all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so things like that would easily push him over his threshold, that, or a baby crying or whatever it is. He's just he has that heightened anxiety, and that's what we're trying to tackle right now. We've tackled a lot of other things, and it's just the main headline right now, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably the root of all these other symptoms, and behaviors and concerns that we have. But, talking this out with you, I can actually see some silver lining on the dark cloud there, that he handled it better on Thursday than he did on Sunday when it was unexpected. And one of the recommendations was, of course, to take him back to the same setting and that he can learn to work through it. And that's when you're kind of like, not sure I just want to put him back into that fire. And it's like, it's... You
have to follow your gut, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you just, some people's view of it is, okay, well, you have to, I don't know, there's a saying for it, but like
get the horse back in the saddle.
Yeah, bite the bullet or whatever, you have to keep exposing him to it until he doesn't react anymore.
Desensitize him.
Yeah. From hearing autistic adults, that are still struggling with that, I don't think that's the right approach for us. There's other better ways.
I know. And, it's, and I was thinking about that because like this whole thing is like, it's still sitting with us. We haven't been able to just let this one go this week. But I understand the clinical approach, but that's in air quotes there. That's a clinical approach. And then we have the parental approach, which is we're with Bryce day in and day out. We see how he struggles with anxiety. And we know where his limitations are and how far we should and that we need to push him. And again, I think even really making him leave his bedroom to come in there to rehash that with them was a push I was willing to do, even though I knew it would not make him too happy, because it was just going to be upsetting to him again.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt that was important because we needed to get a little more answers. And I also wanted them to see how visibly upset he is about this whole thing. So that's why we didn't push him hard on that, but we did have him step out of his comfort zone to come and talk about that. And I'm happy with the way he handled it. So,
and again, I think the anxiety is the root problem here, and just re-exposing him to the same thing. I mean, he gets exposed enough in public.
He does.
To things that irritate him.
We don't have to set things up.
We don't have to set things up. Yeah. So we deal with them as they come up. And, I think, another thing we want to talk about is this is your last week of work coming up full time.
It is my last 5-day week.
So you're going down to 2 days a week, and you'll be available more for us.
Yes.
And we're really looking forward to that. And Bryce, I think Bryce really needs that because he does talk a lot about when you're at work.
I know.
He doesn't have enough mommy time.
I know.
So I think it's important that we're listening to him, and you'll be able to help out with school and therapies and everything else that I'm juggling. And I think it'll be a more manageable schedule for both of us. And
I do.
I think another important thing is that we'll be getting him off of his electronics more.
Sure, because we're going to have things planned.
Yeah.
That we can actually spend time with him.
You'll be doing things with him that don't require those.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think we're going to, I think in terms of quarters because of where I work and I do financials. So everything's like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. But I do think in Q4, when I have like 3 months to really be here more and be with him more and be present and help him do things on his school breaks that are outside of electronics and have PE time with him and have art time with him. And, I have all these things in my mind that I am excited and ready to do with him.
Right.
I think we're going to see a reduction in his anxiety.
I think so too.
I think we're going to see a reduction in your anxiety.
I think so too.
And I think he feels our anxiety. So I think it's just going to be like a win-win-win.
Yeah.
And, and then things will play themselves out the way they're supposed to. I think we kind of know our schedule for the next 6 months, and then we'll see what happens after that. So I think it's really good and exciting. Probably the last thing that we'll bring up, just because it's fresh on my mind and something else we're working on, and to me it's kind of funny and it's kind of not, but we're trying to work with Bryce on acknowledging people, like with greetings and when they leave. And we have been working on this for years. And we've tried the prompting and the leading him through it and telling him, okay, what do you say? And so-and-so's leaving. And
what do we do? Making
the obvious prompts. And, so the new team is like, it's one of his goals, for behavior. So she's like, well, I think we just need to give him some impromptu, more subtle prompts. And so, don't say Miss Phyllis's leaving or Miss Brianna's leaving. I'm so used to that. Sorry. So, so you say, don't tell Bryce that they're leaving. Just tell them bye. We were just telling them bye.
Yeah.
And she goes,
they were like, oh, okay, we're getting our stuff. We're getting ready to go.
And she even went over right by him. Did I leave something on the couch?
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay. All right. I said, okay, well, thanks for coming. Thanks for everything that you do. Okay. And Bryce is like right there on the couch, right? Still working on his little game and whatever. So they leave, and we waited a few moments, and then I said, did you notice who's not here anymore? And then he paused and he says, Miss Felissa. I said, yep. Anybody else? Oh, Miss Brianna. I said, yep, they're gone. He goes, oh, I didn't say bye. I said, no. And then he says, "Are you sad?" And I said, "No, I'm not sad. How do you feel?" He goes, "I'm all right. So what's for dinner?" That was it. And I thought he might feel a little bad that he didn't say bye, but
Yeah.
nope.
Come in.
He didn't.
Bryce is at the door.
Yeah, he's ready.
Come in.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to let Bryce take my microphone here. Come on, buddy. You can tell him about it.
Bryce wants to tell us about his new construction game that he's been working on.
Okay.
Did you show my cup?
Well,
Nope.
they can't see
They
it. You
can't
can
see
tell
the
them
cup.
about it.
Yeah, what's it say
What's it
on
look like?
PJ Chick-fil-A.
What?
PJ
That's a
Chick-fil-A.
PDQ cup.
PJ Chick-fil-A.
Well, they're
Okay.
your
Is that a new
version.
name for it? Okay. Well, since people can't see your game, Bryce, you want to tell them about
Use
it?
your words to tell them about it. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna buy a bulldozer.
You gonna buy a bulldozer? How many coins do you have?
245 CR.
245 coins?
Yeah.
Or is that the real number? Or
Yeah.
how many is it really?
It's really 200,
Oh, it is. It's not a comma.
225.
Okay.
It is 245.
220. So 225,000.
Oh, okay. You're not feeling good today, are you? So tell them what you do with the bulldozer.
You can.
You gotta focus, honey.
Bryce, the people are here.
Yeah, they're right here.
up
So
here.
actually, you have to. You can buy it by hitting this button
Okay.
Oh,
and hit yes or no.
hit yes. And what's it say? Oh,
You
there
got
goes your
it.
coins.
Yep.
And that means I have the cat bulldozer now.
Oh, the
The
cat
cat.
bulldozer. All right. Well, pause and tell us what you're doing right now with the construction. Are you building something?
Yes, I'm building something. I'm gonna start a job.
Okay. What kind of job?
A digging job.
Okay. I'm going to go digging.
Is there anything else you want to tell them?
What's the name of that app? For other boys and girls that are listening, what's the name of the app?
What's the name of the app? Construction Simulator 2 Lit.
Okay, Lite. Yeah, Construction Simulator 2 Lite. Probably says LIT or something. All right, is there anything else you want to tell them?
Bryce, remember, they can't see it, so you have to use your words.
Is there anything else you want to tell the people?
So, that's all. It's just my one game.
Yeah, you rediscovered it because you used to play it a lot, and then you stopped playing it, and now you remembered it, right?
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
I got the app.
Yeah, cool.
And I started a new game.
Okay.
I
All
gotta
right.
leave, okay?
Okay, you're going to leave? All right, thanks for telling us everything. Bye.
Bye, Bryce.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Well, he was
Okay.
excited to tell you guys about that because that has been the game of the week.
Yep.
Alrighty.
That's a wrap for this episode.
Let's wrap it up. Wish everybody a great weekend and week ahead. And again, mark that calendar for October 5th.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.